Hello everyone. In this video I will discuss one of the films called The Wandering Earth, 2019. And never forget that I always pray for you and your family to be happy and healthy always. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a boy named Liu Qi and his father, Liu Peiqiang, who is a lieutenant colonel astronaut. Liu Qi's grandfather is named Han Xiang. In this scene, the father tells Liu Qi that someday he might be able to see the planet Jupiter without using a telescope. Meanwhile, Liu Qi's mother is currently sick and undergoing treatment in a hospital. The Earth is experiencing various natural disasters, including volcanic eruptions, fires, droughts, and an abandoned city left by its inhabitants. These conditions have prompted the world to unite in addressing these disasters. The cause is the sun entering its final phase, expanding and heating the Earth. In the next 100 years, the sun is projected to engulf the Earth, and within the following 300 years, it will obliterate the solar system. Nations unite to face this catastrophe and form the United Earth Government, or UEG for short. The UEG plans to move Earth toward the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, which is 4.2 light-years away. The estimated travel time for Earth is 2,500 years. This project is named the Wandering Earth Project. The UEG builds 10,000 Earth propulsion engines worldwide, each 11,000 kilometers high, generating 50 million units of thrust for Earth. Additionally, space stations are constructed to oversee Earth's journey, and the construction process takes 30 years. Astronauts are then dispatched from Earth to these space stations. One such station is the International Space Navigation Platform, or simply the Earth Space Station. Its role is to guide Earth to prevent collisions during its journey. The UEG also constructs an underground city near the Earth's propulsion engines, serving as a temporary residence for humans before Earth reaches its new home. As Earth moves away from the sun, surface temperatures plummet, necessitating the evacuation to underground shelters. In short, 17 years have passed, and this is Liu Qi, now a teenager. The 500-year journey is extremely long, so life in the underground city continues as usual, with schooling still in session. There's a girl named Han Duoduo, Liu Qi's sister. Han Duoduo gets scolded by her teacher for not paying attention in class, and she simply states that she wants to go to the Earth's surface. Suddenly, the power in the school goes out, and it turns out to be Liu's doing. Liu then takes his sister and escapes from the school. Currently, they live in underground city number 3, which is located in Beijing, China. They both go to a place where Liu plans to borrow a pair of protective suits for himself and his sister from someone named Yijie. Liu also orders a fake identity for his sister. Yes, they both plan to go to the surface, so they need these tools. Yijie asks Liu to return the suits the next day once they are done. When Liu and his sister bid farewell, Yijie becomes suspicious that they might not return, creating a tense atmosphere. Yijie becomes angry because Liu tried to deceive him. Long story short, they successfully escape from Yi's pursuit and head to the checkpoint before going to the surface. It turns out to be their first time on the surface, and they arrive to find Beijing frozen and lifeless. They are astonished by the vastness of the outside world. They quickly search for their grandfather's transporter with the number 373. Liu, as it turns out, uses his grandfather's driving license to operate the transporter. Throughout the journey, they observe Earth's engines and people mining for fuel. Currently, the Earth space station is around the planet Jupiter, and Earth is about to reach Jupiter's orbit, utilizing Jupiter's gravity to accelerate its journey. After 17 years of duty on the Earth space station, Lieutenant Liu reached retirement. His friend, Lieutenant Makarov, a Russian national, gave Lieutenant Liu a bottle of liquor as a gift. After that, Lieutenant Liu promptly reported to conclude his duty and was allowed to return to Earth the next day. Earth, approaching Jupiter's orbit, was affected by Jupiter's immense gravitational force. This caused Earth to deviate from its path, increasing the risk of a collision with Jupiter. Now back to Liu, who was on a journey with Han towards the nearest station. Unfortunately, they encountered a checkpoint along the way. Liu, caught using his grandfather's valid driving license instead of his own, was then put into a holding cell. Suddenly, another inmate greeted Liu and introduced himself. His name was Tim, and he was a man of Chinese and Australian descent. Shortly afterward, Leo's grandfather arrived and tried to get his grandson out of the cell. The grandfather even gave a gift to the prison guard, but instead of being released, he was also locked up because lending the driving license was considered a serious violation. While the grandfather was busy with social media, Liu asked him to stop dancing. This angered the grandfather, and he blamed Liu. Because of Liu's actions, they all ended up in confinement, including the grandfather. Tim, who was next to them, tried to mediate their dispute. While Liu was upset, he hit the wall, causing it to crack. This was due to an earthquake triggered by the malfunction of the Earth's engines. The damage to these engines was caused by the cessation of the gravitational thrust from Jupiter, affecting around 4,700 other Earth engines. With the propulsion engines offline, Earth was immediately drawn by Jupiter's gravitational force. UEG quickly made an announcement that within 37 hours, these engines needed to be restarted to steer Earth back to its path and avoid a collision with Jupiter. All personnel on Earth were mobilized to restart the Earth's propulsion engines. Meanwhile, at the space station, to expedite the mission, resources would be consolidated and the Earth space station would enter power-saving mode. Lieutenant Liu tried to contact his son, Liu Qi, who was not in the underground city. He then contacted the transporter, choosing his father, Liu's grandfather, to head to the nearest evacuation center. Finally, the power-saving mode of the Earth space station was fully activated, and people quickly entered the capsules to undergo hibernation. On the way, a transporter requests that they stop. The person requesting the stop is Captain Wang Lei, a rescue team leader. Captain Wang Lei intended to seek their help in retrieving cargo that was on the verge of falling into a chasm. The cargo contained a lighter core, crucial for restarting the Earth's engines. One of the rescue team members asked for their assistance in the mission. The rescue team planned to restart the Earth's engine located in Hangzhou. On their journey, they finally reached the frozen city of Shanghai. They planned to traverse a dangerous 80-kilometer-long tunnel in the middle of Shanghai, which could collapse at any moment. Back at the Earth space station, before Lieutenant Liu entered hibernation mode, he inquired with Moss. Moss, an advanced robot or artificial intelligence computer, informed Lieutenant Liu that Liu Qi was currently with the rescue team to restart the Earth's engine in Hangzhou. Lieutenant Liu contacted his father's transporter and spoke with Captain Wang Lei, urging him to be cautious. The scene shifted to a memory where Liu Qi's mother passed away. Due to regulations allowing only one guardian in the underground city and the critical condition of Liu Qi's mother, her treatment was halted. It was a difficult decision, but it was the only way to ensure the survival of Liu Qi and his grandfather. Suddenly, Earth's atmospheric pressure dropped, causing the flying plane to lose control. Simultaneously, an aftershock occurred, causing the surrounding cliffs to collapse and burying Liu's grandfather under the transporter. Meanwhile, in space, Jupiter was pulling Earth's atmosphere apart. Moss informed that the station would execute evacuation procedures. Lieutenant Liu tried to exit the hibernation capsule, and Moss detected this as an act of defiance. At the same time, the rescue team managed to escape from the debris, deciding to ascend to the surface and carry the lighter core through the buildings ahead of them. They passed through a lift corridor to reach the surface, but the building began to crack slowly. Liu's grandfather and one of the rescue team members who had not yet ascended suddenly fell as the elevator from above collapsed, trapping one of the rescue team members. While the grandfather reached a room, he realized that there was only 1% of remaining oxygen. Accepting the inevitable, he opened his protective helmet.
7天，这的每一个人，他的父母给他取名叫韩朵朵。孩子，不怕。你给我上来呀！我知道错了。哦，我们就是一家人了。虎口哥哥的，保护好妹妹，我都回家。爷爷。
The rescue team decided to continue the mission without Liu, his sister, as Liu felt he could no longer contribute. We returned to the Earth space station, where Lieutenant Liu successfully exits the hibernation capsule. Due to a rule, other capsules are also awakened by the system, including Lieutenant Makarov. Lieutenant Liu informs Lieutenant Makarov that the space station is moving away from Earth, stating that the power-saving mode is just a deception. They plan to head to the main control center of the station to stop its trajectory. To achieve this, they need to leave the station because all connecting doors are locked. Meanwhile, on Earth, Liu and others find a transporter. Suddenly they're startled by Han's screams inside the transporter. There is someone panicking and holding Han hostage. Liu tries to calm him down. The man is named Li Yi. He explains that he is part of the team responsible for restarting the engines along the equator. Li asks Liu if he can operate the transporter. If so, he requests to hurry to activate the nearest propulsion engine along the equator. Their target is the Earth's propulsion engine in Sulawesi. Shortly after, the transporter's radio sounds revealed Captain Wang Lei's voice, informing them that Hangzhou's underground city is currently in a state of emergency. Captain Wang Lei and the rescue team finally arrive in Hangzhou, finding the Earth's propulsion engine and the underground city in ruins. Soon, Liu reaches the location where the rescue team was. Captain Wang Lei appears on the verge of despair and disbands his team. From inside the transporter, Liu tells Captain Wang Lei that he and his team are heading to the Earth's engine in Sulawesi. They also ask Captain Wang Lei and his team for assistance. Finally, they all set out together to Sulawesi to restart the Earth's engine there. In the Earth space station, Lieutenant Liu and Makarov continue to struggle to reach the main control room of the station. As the main control room passes above them, Captain Liu and Makarov prepare to jump towards it. However, Moss detects Captain Liu and Makarov's actions as a threat and shoots an airwave that throws them both far away. In that moment, Lieutenant Makarov, relying on his instincts, pushes Captain Liu and sacrifices himself so that Captain Liu can reach the main control room. Lieutenant Liu finally manages to enter the main control room. He then attempts to activate the manual control system to stop the Earth space station's trajectory. However, Moss has rendered the manual mode non-functional, as all actions taken on the station during the evacuation were considered illegal, meaning there is currently no way to stop the space station from moving away from Earth. Meanwhile, on Earth, Liu, heading towards the Earth's engine in Sulawesi, receives news via radio broadcast that almost all of Earth's propulsion engines have been reignited. Liu and the rescue team arrive at the propulsion engine in Sulawesi. While refueling, Liu is seen talking to Captain Wang Lei. After all is said and done, he just wants to go home with his sister because their grandfather's last message was to bring Han home. Finally, the Sulawesi Earth engine has been successfully restarted. However, despite all engines being operational, Earth continues to get closer to Jupiter. This is because Earth has already been pulled by the strong gravity of Jupiter, and thus the engines are not strong enough to push Earth away, meaning a collision with Jupiter is inevitable. On the Earth space station, Moss informs Lieutenant Liu through computer calculations that the likelihood of their survival is non-existent, considering the mission a failure. Moss reveals that within the next 3 hours, Earth will enter the initial stages of destruction before ultimately colliding with Jupiter. Given this situation, Moss broadcasts a global message informing everyone on Earth that the Wandering Earth project has failed and that the rescue mission is renamed Project Helios. It is revealed that the Earth space station currently carries 300,000 human embryos, millions of plant seeds, DNA from various animal species, and a digital library containing all the knowledge in the world. Moss continues the broadcast, urging everyone on Earth to return home and gather with their families in the remaining time they have. The global broadcast leaves people worldwide in despair. In this moment of desperation, Liu recalls his childhood with his father, who was observing Jupiter through a telescope. Liu's father explains that Jupiter is like a balloon and almost entirely composed of hydrogen. This triggers a question in Liu's mind, and he asks Li whether the Earth's atmosphere, mixed with Jupiter's hydrogen, is easily combustible. Li connects with Liu's thoughts, stating that Jupiter has been absorbing a significant amount of oxygen from Earth, and the mixture of oxygen and hydrogen could indeed be combustible. Li suggests that if they manage to ignite it, The resulting explosion might push Earth away from Jupiter and back onto its intended course. Now what they need is a spark to trigger the explosion. However, the problem is the distance between Jupiter and Earth, which is 70,000 kilometers, making it impossible for the existing engines to reach it. Liu suggests using the Earth's propulsion engines for this purpose. Li says he can modify these engines to spew fuel over a longer distance. Li explains his plan, temporarily shutting down the propulsion engines, and when they restart, focusing the spray from each engine into a single point. This concentration will create a higher spray, reaching Jupiter to initiate an explosion. To carry out the modifications, Li plans to take over the risky manual locking system, assigning this task to Captain Wang Lei's team. The locking system ensures that the engines can restart. Additionally, they need to insert the lighter core into the engines, a task assigned to Liu and his team. After the successful mission, they must quickly head to the underground city because the explosion could be massive. The mission is immediately set in motion. While heading to the location, Captain Wang Lei, through a radio broadcast, requests assistance, but it seems that no one is responding. The people within their range are indifferent and unresponsive. Han also helps broadcast a radio message seeking assistance, but it proves to be futile. Liu, who has reached the reactor room, promptly inserts the lighter core, but the engine gets stuck. Li, still trying to take over the system, mentions that the closure of the lighter core should be automatic, but it appears that Li has not fully taken control of the system. One of his colleagues is named Lu. He goes to a hardware room that needs to be restarted for the engine to work again. Liu, seeing that his engine is stuck due to an obstruction, tries to fix it. Han, who is seeking help through a radio broadcast, accidentally connects with Liu's father. Upon hearing this, Moss informs them that 7 hours ago a similar proposal was made, but according to computer calculations, the success rate is 0. Lieutenant Liu immediately communicates with the UEG to request all personnel to assist Liu and his team, but the UEG cannot fulfill the request. However, they can help by connecting the rescue team on the global channel so that they can seek assistance globally. Han then starts her broadcast, seeking help again, and this time people worldwide can hear her. People realize this and are moved to help the rescue team. Meanwhile, in the Earth space station, Lieutenant Liu orders the Earth engines to change their positions so that the Earth rotates and the Sulawesi engine can directly aim towards Jupiter. Inside the reactor, Liu seems to succeed, and the team tries to pull him out to prevent him from getting trapped. Shortly after Liu successfully exits, the engine closes perfectly. Meanwhile, in the hardware room where Liu is trying to restart the system, they finally succeed. Li can now fully take over the system, and the Sulawesi engine can be functional again. Li then asks Liu to quickly leave the reactor room. People gather and help Captain Wang Lei push the manual key system so that the Sulawesi engine can restart. Oh, by the way, this locking system must be held in place to keep the engine running, otherwise it will cause the Earth propulsion engine to shut down. Finally, everything succeeds according to plan. After Liu successfully exits the reactor room, the engine is immediately started. The Earth engine finally extends higher than before. Although assisted by the nearby Earth engines, it appears there is still a shortfall of 5,000 kilometers to reach the explosion point. It seems their plan to explode Jupiter has failed. On the Earth space station, Lieutenant Liu is not short of ideas. He then presents his idea to the UEG. The current space station has a large amount of fuel, and Lieutenant Liu plans to move the Earth space station towards the plasma stream to trigger combustion and cause an explosion. Moss then shuts down communication and does not allow any actions that could threaten the Earth space station. Lieutenant Liu turns off the fire extinguishing system and remembers the alcoholic drink given by Lieutenant Makalov. Lieutenant Liu throws the bottle towards Moss, setting it on fire. Because of the fire, manual control might be possible. Lieutenant Liu intends to sacrifice himself and direct the Earth space station into the middle of the plasma stream so that the fuel on the station can ignite and trigger an explosion. Finally, the UEG accepts the action regardless of the outcome. The important thing is that Lieutenant Liu has tried. Lieutenant Liu immediately releases the part of the station containing hibernating astronauts and departs alone. Lieutenant Liu contacts people on Earth and informs them of his plan. Liu, hearing this, panics and asks Li to turn off the engine.
刘备成，要干什么？别发动机！王雷，你快松手！
王磊上尉，不许松手，这是命令。
是王雷，你他妈混蛋！嘴闭嘴，闭嘴！
儿子，儿子，爸爸又要去执行任务了。
我能看见木星的时候，你就会回来。你骗人！
爸爸在天上，你只要一抬头，就可以看到爸爸了。
In the end, Father Liu's plan succeeds and Jupiter ignites. A massive explosion occurs and people quickly enter the elevator to go to the underground city because the explosion from Jupiter will reach Earth in 7 minutes. Because they were waiting for Liu, Han headed to the backup lift. Captain Wang Lei followed her but was hit by falling rocks. He instructed Liu to take cover under the Earth engine. Unfortunately, Liu, Han and the team, who hadn't reached their transporter, were hit by the rocks. They fell downward. Luckily, Tim got caught on a pole. Seeing Han free-falling, Liu quickly followed her, and they eventually fell together. Just before hitting the surface, Liu released an airball that saved them from the impact. Finally, the explosion from Jupiter reached Earth, pushing it out of Jupiter's gravitational pull. Earth returned to its proper orbit, and life continued. 3 years after that incident, life in the underground city returned to normal. It all begins with the sun entering its final phase of life, causing various natural disasters on Earth due to the sun's enlargement. Humans eventually create the Earth engine to move the Earth out of the solar system in search of a new sun, which is estimated to take approximately 2,500 years. If you see propulsion engines located at the equator, these engines function to stop the Earth's rotation because the Earth will move in one direction only, forward without rotation, although it poses the greatest risk of mass extinction. Next is the most substantial part of this film, as Earth utilizes the gravitational force from Jupiter to achieve its final acceleration, even with the greatest risk of colliding with Jupiter. It takes about 500 years for Earth to travel to the edge of the solar system. Afterward, the Earth engines will ignite at full power and wander for the remaining estimated 2,000 years. A celestial body as large as Earth cannot immediately stop or break abruptly upon reaching its destination. Therefore, after 1,300 years of leaving the solar system, or with 700 years remaining in the Earth engine's journey, they will reverse their direction to slow Earth's speed until it eventually stops at a predetermined point. That is the storyline of the film The Wandering Earth. And that's it for the story series of this film. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to support this channel by subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. Goodbye.